Hey guys, I'm Ray, and we are streaming blacksmithing. Welcome in, everybody. Welcome to the stream. Mahalo. Welcome, welcome. Hello, everyone. I feel like every Monday, I feel like the weekend is just never long enough. It's like you got Friday, you work and stuff, and Saturday rolls around, and you're just trying to catch up with like all of the adulting things or doing something fun, and then Sunday is the other one that you didn't do. And there's just never enough time to finish the lawn and all of the groceries and stuff. And if you done something fun. So I don't know. I just wish we had like one more weekend day, like 4 days a week working as opposed to, the 5 days a week calendar. So welcome to the stream, everybody. Welcome to the work week. So, like I said, this weekend there was just not enough time. I didn't really do much of anything. I mean, we went to Sam's to get some stuff, some Gatorade and some juice. So I'm back with, it'll be Gatorade time later on today. Especially if there's a holiday like Mother's Day on one of the weekend days. Exactly, man. It's like, you got to go and visit your family. I mean, you know, I didn't get a chance to go and visit my family this weekend, but it's still, how are things? How was the end of the week? Oh, things are pretty good. Overall, I'm still a little tired. Like I said, I could have used a little bit more rest. And so, yeah, we went to Sam's to, do the grocery shopping. And what else did we do last weekend? I don't know that we really did anything else. At least I didn't do anything else. But I don't know what it was. I just feel super like exhausted, and I feel like it's just this like low level, exhaustion that's just everywhere. Everybody I talk to, no metal smacking today, just drilling and melting. There will probably be a little bit of forging in there as well. We are going to be taking Mahalo's advice and taking our pieces, our front and our back, and drilling a whole bunch of holes. Then we're going to heat it up and use the chisel to break that perforation and get these center windows out of this side and the other side. And the other side. So there will be a tiny bit of forging. Once that's done, there'll probably be a little bit of jagginess that we're going to have to use a little filing to make that nice and smooth. And once that's done, we will start melting that metal with the welder. So we've got a little bit of forging left to do today. But I'm hoping, everything goes by really quickly and we can get good and finished with this project today. At least for the most part. I still am not sure that I'm going to be able to get the Hardy welded on, but, we're going to do our best. We're going to try and finish it today. Oh, nice. Metal equivalent of a tear on the dotted line. Exactly. That's exactly what we're going to be doing today. On Friday, we kind of took the chisel and we decided that we were just going to use the chisel to like punch through, and it took way too long to do. So Mahalo mentioned that I should drill more holes, and you know what? That's the right thing to do. It'll be less material that the chisel has to go through, and yeah, it's just like tearing out coupons, in the paper when they were perforated. So that's what we're going to be doing today. So I've got lots of equipment, and we're just going to kind of rotate around all of the equipment in the shop. A little bit of all of my favorite things. Not everything that's my favorite, but most of it. So, yes. And we're just going to continue working for as long as I can manage. And yeah, should be a good day. Let's see. I've got an ad break that's going on right now. Once that ends, I'll kind of start working things out. Getting started here. Goodness gracious. I have no idea why I am so tired. Like I said, I really didn't do much this weekend. Just like, sitting around playing video games, playing with the cat. I guess we did take the cat to the vet. I'll talk more about that later. I was not thrilled by that vet appointment. Nothing's wrong with Tungsten right now, at least not that we're aware of. But we do 6-month checkups with the cat, just like us. So I got a story for you guys. Dr. Optimal, a 3-stream streak. Thank you so, so much for that. Welcome. Thank you for your support and, thanks for letting us know. Water is good for me. All right, so I've got these guys and I've got really loud dropping things already. And I've got this guy, so we're good. All right. So do you have an entire periodic table of cats? I do not. I only have one cat right now. I had a cat and a dog. My dog's name was Jade. She passed last year around this time. And then I still have my cat, Tungsten. Tungsten is an orange tabby, and orange is the color of the filament of a light bulb, and it's a tungsten filament. So that's how he got his name. In addition to, tungsten rings, you can get a hold of those. They're oftentimes made into men's bands. They're very difficult to size, but, jewelry. And then my dog, her name was Jade, and we didn't actually name her. We got her when she was 2 years old, and she was already answering to the name Jade, so we kind of kept it. Because, we liked it. It was kind of on theme, right? Jade, it's a gem, metalworking jewelry. So yeah, that's kind of how they got their names. I thought maybe it was a metal theme you had going on. Well, it's not completely wrong, his name is because of tungsten, the metal. But yeah. It's not just metal. It's like metal and gems, right? Also, when I heard the name tungsten, or the word tungsten, for whatever reason, there was this movie back in like the late 90s, early 2000s called Dunstan Checks In. It's about like a monkey that checks into a hotel. And I thought that was an amazingly fun movie when I was a kid. And I loved the name Dunstan. And tungsten sounds like Dunstan. So I don't know. But yeah, all right. So we are going to continue on trying to get rid of the windows in this blacksmith's helper or guillotine tool. We needed to open up these little windows so that we can get all of our hot metal through here into and between the dies that we're going to be making for this. So I am going to drill about 4 or 5 holes along the edge, the top and bottom edge, kind of like in between the 2 holes at the top. And we'll see how well that goes as we go. All right. Let's see here. And you know what? I put my oil in the other room, so I'm gonna need to grab that real fast if I can find it. It's really dark in here right now. What'd I do with it? It's right here. I'm a smart person. Putting things back where they actually go for once in my life. It's really weird. I don't do that often. All right. Let's put some oil down so we don't overheat our drill bit. let's see here. There we go. Good to go, good to go. All right, are we all nice and lined up? Enough. So we're going to try and keep on keeping on with this. A little bit of fabrication. I will try to keep up with chat a little bit as we're going. And you know what? I'm going to grab this so we can kind of move that stuff out of the way a little bit as we're going. So as much as I like to preserve my drill bits, and that's what that oil is meant to do, preserve my drill bits, it does make some nasty, like, smells when we put it in the forge. So we're trying to get rid of as much of that as possible as we're going. Oh, that's squealing. That means we need to get a little bit more oil on there, or we need to take the pressure off. Seem to be doing all right. We'll probably add a little bit more oil for our next drill, or our next hole. And I believe we'll be able to get away with this hole and one more on this side, and then we'll work on this side, or this edge. So it isn't taking nearly as long as it could have. So I'm super grateful for that. Hopefully we will be able to finish all of it. Don't forget to attach the perforated dongle arm with the sinusoidal replenishment. Wow. Pre-formulated. I can read today. That was quite a lot of big words. Okay. One more hole right around here. I think we'll be okay. So we've got a little bit of material that we're going to be going through with the chisel, this thing, chisel. And it should be a lot easier, and it should fall apart or fall out exactly like we want it to. yeah, my drill bit is laser guided, and this is a step drill bit. And I got this set of drill bits, there are 3 of them, from you guys. Chat sent me anonymously a set of step drill bits, and they are gorgeous. They work so well. I need to add a little bit more oil to this because I definitely don't want to unsharpen it. They're so nice and sharp already. I just want to make sure that they stay that way. So yeah, it's basically, you know, a multi-step drill bit. I think this one goes from 1/8 inch all the way up to 1/2 inch diameter holes. And I have 3 others with different sizes. All right, so you guys can kind of see that I've got nice holes in there. And so all we're going to have to do is use the chisel to kind of break those little perforations there. So we're going to flip this over and try working on that side. Inside of that hole that we've already chiseled. The turbo encabulator. You'll have to look that up on YouTube. It's kind of a joke among engineers. I see. Make sure the amplification lunar Wayne's fall is properly fabricated to avoid any potential, though unlikely, malfunctions in the hydroptic Marzavine. Wow. Guys, that honestly, when I look at those words together in that sentence, what I see is very similar to when Bluesy and Sandwich are trying to like teach me German and Belgian. I won't lie, you know? And I will 100% note that I am not a fabricator, like a professional fabricator. I know a little bit. I'm more of a hobbyist. Whoops. An artist. I'm definitely not like a professional at this. I do what I can, but I am learning as I go. In computing, we say, sit back and watch the blinking lights. You know, you guys might as well be, you know, asking me to find, like, you know, the blinker fluid from the AutoZone, you know? I would not know if it existed or not, you know? Let's grab a little bit more oil. Ray is not a fabricator, but is fab. Awesome. Blinker fluid is a good substitute for cutting oil. Yeah. I've always thought that it was a little on the mean side to like say things like that, you know? Send people out for blinker fluid and that sort of thing. But I have to admit that I used to be a boss And occasionally when I wanted to get an employee out of my hair, I did say things like that. I have in my life sent in my employees to get objects that did not exist just to get them out of my hair. I'm not proud of it, but you know, sometimes you need some peace, you know? Alrighty. Alrighty, now we've got some perforations on that side as well. So this side is good. Now we have one more side that we've got to drill and perforate. But before I do that, I'm going to take a little bit of a break from the mask. I can breathe through it and stuff. It's a fine mask. It's just that it always fogs up my safety glasses, and then I can't see no more. So we're gonna take a tiny break so I can, like, you know, unfog my safety glasses. We used to send people for a bucket of steam. Remember, if necessary, send people for striped paint. Some apprentices really do need to go look for that left-handed 10mm socket, though. It looks like Neapolitan ice cream. Oh yeah, the stripy paint. To be fair, though, you know, you can kind of do some stripy paint. If you're doing like float skimming. Be careful, my father was sent for a few things like that, and he came back with them in a bill? And a bill. Oh, wow. See, when I first started reading that sentence, be careful, my father was sent out for a few things like that, and I thought you were talking about, you know, when your dad says he goes out for cigarettes and then never comes back. So I'm glad that your father came back, even if it was with a bill. Even if it was with a bill. Because at least he came back, right? That's a good thing. All right. So I think we're going to do all right. After we heat this up, we're going to just be able to pop it right out. Fingers crossed. But you know what? My theory, you know, theoretically, it should pop right out. But, you know, like I said, I'm always learning new things. And you know what? Just because I think it's going to work one way does not mean it is. So we're, you know, fingers crossed it works beautifully. But I am, you know, anticipating and planning my next step if it doesn't work. Like SpongeBob and the turbocharged spatula with port and starboard attachments, right? I remember that episode. He came back and he had it, and it was exciting. And everybody's like, where did you get that? Where did you get that? All right. Okay. I have clear glasses now. It cost them money. They didn't send him again unless they actually wanted something real, because he had showed he could find them even if they theoretically didn't exist. That is a good skill to have, you know? It's a good person to have around, somebody who can find stuff even if it does, or you don't think it exists, you know? And there are people like that. They just have so many connections that they can go around and just like find stuff, you know, or make stuff exist. That is a specialized skill. Alrighty. And I'm going to flip this camera a little bit just so that we can get a different angle. I think I'm going to move it a little bit forward. You're going to be able to see it in the wide cam, but I don't think that's bad necessarily. We're just going to kind of give us ourselves a little bit more of a close-up. Yeah. Whoa. Moving. There we go. All right. And hopefully I'm not tripping. Those are some of the people you want around when the zombies show up. They can find you anything you need, right? Definitely. All right, let's grab some more oil. I'm starting to run low on oil in this bin. I'll have to grab some more eventually. Okie doke. Let's do this. Okay. Whoops. Gotta drop things, you know. It's kind of my signature move here. Let me grab that real fast. And we've got one more hole on this side, and then we'll do another, the last side, the last bit of perforation. Oops, I keep dropping that. I don't know why. Okay. Alright, I guess it'll be alright. No, it's not gonna want to go. It's a little tiny area. It's not wanting to get there. Let's see if I can't make it stay there. There we go. Should be better. Alrighty. The last one on that one. And let me pick that up real fast. That way you can kind of see that. All those perforations in there. We've got one more side to go. Oops. But I'm going to take a tiny little break. For a moment. I've got an ad break coming up here shortly. That kind of looks like one of the brushes I have in my garage. Mine is repurposed broken ice scraper though. I'm not sure where I even got this one. It's got metal bristles, so it works really well for blacksmithing and getting rid of scale. This guy does too. This is a little bit too sharp to use for a car windshield though. My old physics teacher, he had two cars. One cost him one Deutschmark, one cost him a bottle of lager, but was still running after 10 years. He could make things out of basically junk. Man, that is crazy. Yeah. All right. So during this ad, I need to go into the house and grab something real fast. And so I'm going to put up the be right back sign for just a little bit, and I will be back. I apologize. I thought I had everything, but I don't. So give me just a moment. Apologies. Alright, guys, I am back. Apologies. Had to grab the rings for the welder, or like the filter for the camera for the welder. Okay, cool. We are back. I believe, anyway. Let's see. Okay, cool. I don't have to transition it, I guess. All right, cool. I'm back. I apologize for having to leave. And so we're going to continue working on this guy. Okay, so we're good on that. Let's do. Should we admit we like wood as well as metal? You know what? I also like wood. I just don't like working with it. You guys are allowed to like wood. It's great. It's fun to work with. It's just, I'm not very good at it. Every time I try and work with wood, I end up having to redo it. It's a pain in the butt. It's like, you know, you say the cut once or measure twice, cut once. I measure twice, I cut once, and it's still wrong. It's a pain in the butt. So if you like metal, or I mean wood, and you're good at it, I respect you. Alright, let's keep on keeping on. Whoops. I apologize for being gone, but we're good now. Man, I'm dropping hairs in here too. Hey, Corwin. I'm doing pretty good. Little on the tired side, but that's alright. We are drilling some perforations so that we can cut the windows out of this guillotine tool. Or I guess Blacksmith's helper. I've been really insistent on calling it that. Alrighty. Couple more left. And then we'll turn on the forge and do a little bit of, you know, blacksmithing, you know, the stuff that I'm known for. What am I hearing is Ray is just a metalhead. I am. Unless you mean the music. I'm not a big metal fan when it comes to music, unfortunately. I guess I just never really got into it. Alrighty. Man, maybe I should stop putting it on the over there and start putting it over there. That'll work a little easier. Alright. There we go. We got plenty of oil now. Should be able to go pretty well. Wood burns if you put it in a furnace and it doesn't soften and stretch to fit. Like when you hit it, it splits. Exactly. See, I'm just so much better at metal than I am at wood. I'm just not used to it, you know? Wood should behave more like metal. Then I would be better at working with it, right? Alrighty. Last one. Exciting. You can see all of the holes on that side. So now we have 2 lines of holes. Hopefully that'll help us get those windows out of there. No, but the drilling, cutting, and sawing bit work much the same. That it does. It definitely does. All right. So let's turn that off and unplug this. That way it is not in the way when we start up the forge. And, okay. Move that over there. That way it doesn't get too hot. Okay. Cool, cool. And I'm going to need to move the camera so that we're now facing the anvil, because now we're going to start up the forge and we are going to bust these windows out of here, right? We got the nice perforation from drilling all of those holes. And next, what I want to do is I want to use the chisel to open these windows up. Fingers crossed this works the way we thought it would. Okay. It would be nice, but you know, always expect the unexpected. Okie doke. Let's turn on the forge. Oh, you know what? The other thing I need to move is I probably need to move this chair out of the way because it's a little on the warm side. I'll probably move it over here for the moment. The door to the rest of the house is not a door, it's a jar. Is it? It's actually a TARDIS. I mean, that's the door towards the rest of the house. Okay. Okie doke. So I think first we're going to start with this one that we have already started with. We're going to try and get the perforation on this side torn out like a coupon. So I'm going to put this guy over here. We're going to put my headphones back on so I can hear myself a little better. All right, we've got plenty of space here on my anvil. Hopefully I don't trip over the drill press. We might have to shove that back in the back shop again, but we'll see what happens. So we are about halfway through, well, a little less than halfway through our stream. So not bad at all. We're making decent time. Hopefully, fingers crossed, we can get these perforations separated very quickly so that we can move on to the welding bit. When we do that, I will be moving the anvil over this way, and then we'll bring the welding table back over so that I have plenty of space to kind of move things about and tack things and make it work. Forges are notoriously bigger on the inside. That they are. So I keep hearing tiny little pops, and I don't know if you guys can see them because it's still kind of, it's a little bit on the quiet side, and I've got the active sound cancellation going, but what's happening is all of the little chips that came off of the piece of steel from the drill, that and the oil are kind of popping off. It sounds a little bit like, you know, when you have a wood fire and you get the little crackles. That's kind of what it sounds like, but it's the oil burning off and then popping and taking some of the chips off with it. So we've got, that one was kind of loud. I don't know, maybe you guys can hear that one. The pops are not audible. Okay, cool. Well, I can hear them. Unfortunately, you guys can't. It's, at the moment, I've got the bricks in front, and so they don't seem to be coming out of the mouth of the forge, so I think I'm pretty safe for the moment. Fried steel crisp. That's exactly what's happening. As it heats up, it will stop doing that after a little while. It's kind of like when you, so if you are going to be making a knife and you're doing your hardening cycles, you know, you heat up your knife and then you like dunk it into your oil, right? Like they do on Forge and Fire. And so the next time you heat that up, when you start like tempering it, you kind of have to be a little bit careful that you get rid of as much of the oil as possible. You don't want it to be popping and burning on there. So got to clean it off as best you can. And I probably should have done that here as well. But I think we're all right for the moment. The forge is a muted roar. It is. So I have a lav mic that has a transmitter that I wear in my pocket. And so the microphone system has active sound cancellation. So it will pick up on my vocal, like my speech, and it will kind of tone down the rest of the noise. And so it makes it a lot easier for you guys to hear, but then I still can't hear myself. So when you guys hear me shouting, that's why. It's really loud in here. So it's because this piece of steel is really big and thick, it's going to take a while for our heat to transfer throughout the piece. As the whole thing heats up, the rest of the piece that's not getting direct fire blown at it is going to be sucking out that heat. So it's got to have a generalized warmth to the entire thing so it's not constantly sucking the heat out of the area that we need to forge. I assumed you could not hear you as you always shout. Hey Bluesy, welcome to the stream. Yeah, I can't hear I wear sound canceling headphones specifically because it's very loud in the blacksmith shop, especially when I'm using the press over there. It's so loud, super loud. So how was your first weekend of retirement, Bluesy? So did you get your bigger O2 tank? I did not. So what we did was we took the drill press and we perforated our edges. So we're going to stamp them out just like a coupon in the newspaper. I am running up the walls. I can imagine. I have this sneaking suspicion that, when I retire, sometime in the really distant future, I won't know what to do with myself because, I come out here all the time and I'm constantly working, constantly editing things. And I don't know what to do anymore. And I imagine that it'll take some time to get used to not having anything that you have to get done. So hopefully you find a good hobby or something to occupy your time. Maybe walking or riding bikes or, crochet. My mom and my sister love crochet. So they'll just sit there and when they're watching TV, they're constantly making blankets and stuff. And stuffed animals. My mom really loves making stuffed animals in crochet. So they stuff them in everything. It's kind of cool. How we doing? Still a little on the cold side. Ditto. Tomorrow I'll start seriously working for the food pantry. That's awesome. That is awesome. Food pantries and homeless shelters can always use more volunteers. There's never enough people to do that kind of stuff. So I'm sure they will greatly appreciate your volunteering and give you lots of things to do. So the plan is to finish this guy up today. And then on Wednesday, we'll probably be starting a new project. So I think we're going to do a trowel. So I'm thinking that we're going to use a piece of 5/8 inch stock, and I think I'll probably do an 8-inch section of it. We'll do a little bit of upsetting, and then we'll kind of broaden the whole thing out. I think I want to try and do a single piece trowel. I don't necessarily need it to be the widest trowel in the world, but something that's going to function to kind of dig up some weeds in my garden. And then maybe we'll go out and, spend a little bit of time, at least for the YouTube video, pulling up a few weeds in my garden. I was going to do a sponsored cycling trip to Santiago de Compostela in July anyway. May I give you a hint? Sure, what kind of hint? Hey Lexi, welcome to the stream. Welcome, welcome. Cycling trip. That sounds like fun too. I don't really do a lot of cycling personally, but you know, it sounds. I used to bicycle a lot when I was a kid. Instead of a trowel, make a hoe. It's a lot more usable, and you can do the same things. So, all right. So I will lay my cards out on the table. So I thought about making a hoe because I did think that it was going to be, because I don't know a lot about like the hand tools and stuff, but I know that I don't like getting in the ground or on, like sitting on the ground and kind of like crawling along and, you know, using hand tools, right? So I was like, oh, I'll just make a, you know, a tall one that I can like use with a long handle, like a hoe and a rake and stuff like that. And when I was thinking about it, and I was like thinking about titles for stuff, and I just like, I just had a shackle that I made. I've been playing with chains recently. This is technically called a guillotine tool, so that's 3 questionable titles in like the last month. And so, truth be told, I was kind of like, do I really want to do a hoe as my next project? That just seems a little bit of a asking for it. So I don't know. Maybe I will do a gardening hoe. Hey, that's a true gardening tool. It is a true gardening tool. It really is. But I don't know. I figure I'll do a trowel first and then maybe a hoe. I don't know. We'll see what I end up with. I definitely will also be doing another set of tongs. We're going to be doing a wolf jaw tong, and then fingers crossed, at some point by the end of this month, we'll be able to get a, like, I don't know, some kind of a scalpel or a ice pick or something like that. And in other news, thank you so much for that follow. Welcome to the stream. Welcome to the community. Welcome, welcome. So we have an ad starting in about 2.5 minutes, probably closer to 3 minutes. And so I think I'm going to allow that amount of time for the piece of steel to kind of marinate in that heat. We're just now getting to the point where we could theoretically work this steel. So the more time I allow it to accumulate heat, the easier it's going to be to punch out that window. Good evening. Hello. Thank you so much for joining us. We're a little bit, you know, we're starting to do a little bit of blacksmithing. Normally I do a lot of blacksmithing, but right now we're kind of doing a fabrication project. So we're doing the tiniest bit of blacksmithing in the middle of our fab project. What I've got here going is I am making a blacksmith helper or a guillotine tool. And so basically I have a front and a back of 1/2 inch sheet or plate, and I have used an angle grinder to cut vertical lines, and I've drilled a whole bunch of holes to kind of perforate this so we can kind of punch this out a little bit. We're going to use the chisel, and hopefully it'll work. Maybe it won't. I don't know. I didn't choose the hoe life, and the hoe life didn't choose me either. Twitch does really hate that word. Yes, we're doing some blacksmithing to aid some fabrication. And I apologize, Mahalo, for all of the uses of that word that you have to like continuously, okay, it's okay because it's in context. It's okay, you know, because the mod stuff, the auto mod keeps catching that word. And I mean, I don't want to just like whitelist the word hoe because, like, yes, a garden hoe is something that we might make on the stream. It's something that we talk about because we do talk about gardening. However, You never know when someone's going to start calling or flinging names around and stuff, so I don't know. I do not get it. It's not a bad word. I feel like, yeah. In context, it's fine, but you know, definitely could be implied as a definitely could be applied as a derogatory term for a woman. I get why the auto mod flags it. Mahalo, is there a way to whitelist the word for a duration? Like a specific duration? That way you don't have to like hit every single one? Gardening tools. Call a spade a spade. See, a spade is different though, because isn't like a spade like another name for a shovel? I don't know. I thought Automod was supposed to learn from allowing words, but it's really stubborn today. It seems that way. I'm so sorry. Maybe we could, like, you know, bring that down just a little bit. I totally get that you guys think it's funny and stuff. But yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, as I drop water everywhere. All right, cool. And I'm gonna need this guy as well. So I've got this guy, this guy, this guy, and that guy. I don't think I'm gonna need that one immediately. Maybe I'll stick that over here for now. I'm trying to set up my anvil a little bit. What is a widger? What are those words? Are those bad words or are they gardening tools? Yeah, are those gardening tools a widger and a nibber? Or am I going to get banned from YouTube for using those words? Okay. I walked into this conversation and can verify Alexi is a garden tool, just not sure which one yet. Now, let's not call each other names. Okay. Oh, I want to put that there and not that. Goodness gracious. You can use a hoe to dig, but spades are better at it. You can use a hoe to rake, but rakes are better at it. You can use a hoe to cut grass, but scythes are better at it. A hoe is just a very generalized tool that can do it all. That makes some more sense, right? That makes some more sense. All right, so we are going to pull this piece of steel right out of this forge. And I'm going to try and get it. Maybe I do need that to pop out of there as best I can. And that's not wanting to work. So let's see here. I'm going to do this. All right, it seems to be working pretty well. It's going to take a couple of hits to do this, though. And I think I'm going to start doing it over the Pritchell hole. So we're going to take it and bring it over here maybe, because I still need it to, I still need to be able to get through it. So we'll probably use the Pritchell. I need the support of the Pritchell. Because I don't want it to flip as I hammer it down. That would not be fun, because, you know, it would come flinging at me. A crescent wrench of gardening tools. I dig all this talk of hoes, and there's a little that's as good as a hoe at removing weeds. Well, not adjustable hammer of gardening tools, just like crescent wrenches are adjustable hammers. Of all the silly things, I'm doing a pattern welded one-piece spatula. I saw that you were doing a piece of pattern welded steel. I didn't see what you were making with it. So a spatula, that is going to be a beautiful spatula. I don't know that I've ever seen one in with pattern welded steel before, but I feel like, you know, it would go well with a set of knives, you know, a kitchen knives. I don't know why I haven't seen more of them, right? Because, like, a lot of times people will also use spatulas to cut things, right? Like when you're making lasagna, or, you know, when you're making like casseroles and you want to make little squares. I use a spatula to cut food. You know, I feel like it seems logical that being able to make some out of pattern welded steel, you know, match your knives. There's a weird glare on my safety glasses right there. It's from when I had my mask on and it was like all foggy from my breath. I'm kind of known for making items other than knives out of pattern welded steel. That's cool though, you know, because I love pattern welded steel, but like I always feel like I gotta make a knife out of it when I make it, because it's like that's what people expect. But you know what? Pattern welded steel is beautiful, and it doesn't need to just be used for knives. You can make all kinds of stuff out of it. You know, I mean, Mocha Megane, which is like the non-ferrous style of pattern welded, you know, it's more like pattern soldered or pattern brazed, non-ferrous metals. And oftentimes those are used for more decorative objects, like brooches and jewelry and things like that. You know, I've also seen like things like vessels made out of Mocha Megane. So, I mean, it makes sense that you can definitely use pattern welded steel for all kinds of different things. So I would love to see it. I don't, however, think that I want to make a pattern welded hoe. I think that would kind of be a waste of the pattern welded steel, because, you know, once you start using it, then it gets all dirty and stuff. I think my first pattern welded project was a Dremel hook. Interesting. A Dremel hook. So did you do like a twist pattern on it? That would be pretty cool. All right, let's do another heat. And all of these heats are going to be a little bit on the cold side. And the reason for that is this steel is so ridiculously hard, or like large, I mean, that I'm having a lot of trouble keeping it nice and hot. So it's glowing and stuff, but it's going to take a little bit of extra oomph from the forge to keep it hot. So everything's going to be a little on the colder side, unfortunately. All right, how we doing? We're getting there. We are getting there. All right. Put that there for the moment. You can kind of see that it's starting to pop up on from the other side, so we are going to hammer it from this side. Well, what do you want? You place it directly on the cold anvil. I guess I really am. I'm placing it directly on the cold anvil, and the anvil is sucking all of the heat right out of it. So, you know, that and the air around, it's not super cold or anything. It's probably in the 70s Fahrenheit, so it's like about room temperature, maybe a little bit on the warmer side now that I've got the forge going. But yeah, it's still, the moment you take the steel out of the forge, it is losing ambient heat as it goes. So got to be quick about it, and I'm definitely not organized enough to be quick about it. By the time you get it hot, you stop working. Yeah, kinda. Yep, that's pretty much where it goes. With this, anyway. That's why a lot of times I've been choosing to work with the mailbox, because it gets a lot hotter a lot quicker. So, you know, because I only have a limited amount of time that I get to forge. So, you know, it's a lot better to use the mailbox. I could also use the coal forge. That also gets a lot hotter a lot quicker. I'm just teasing you, you know that. But it's true, though, especially with something like this. The longer we spend doing this, the hotter the forge is going to get inside of itself, and also the hotter that steel is going to get, because more ambient heat is being sucked down the rest of the steel, and it's just going to get hotter faster the longer we go. So it's, you know, you may be teasing me, but you're not wrong. It's true. The laws of thermodynamics and all that. But I do what I can, you know. I do what I can. I have a few limitations on my physical abilities and my time that, unfortunately, I just, you know, it's very hard to jump that hurdle. And we're slowly getting there. For a while, I was kind of afraid I was backsliding, but, you know, we are making it. We're getting there. Next time you get yourself a 400-liter butane tank and just leave the forge running all night. Ooh. That would be interesting. Very warm. But I don't know that I trust it. I don't trust this forge enough not to, like, you know, to run without at least being watched by somebody. The mailbox, I can leave that one running pretty easily. I trust it enough. I just don't trust the big forge. For whatever reason, it's just, I think mostly because I bought the mailbox. I built the big forge, right? I know all of the flaws that I put into the big forge, and I know how inefficient it is, and I know where all the cracks and the gaps in it are. So I just don't trust it. Maybe if I purchase another forge, like after I get rid of this one, I'll upgrade to another one at some point in the future. Maybe I'll trust that one. Maybe. You know, so fix it. I don't know that I can fix it. There's a few places that I didn't make it very well. and I ended up just kind of leaving it and calling it good enough. And now that it's good enough, I don't really have access to some of those places anymore. So eventually what I'll do is I will realign it with refractory cement. So what I did was I took a whole bunch of these kind of bricks right here, like the rectangular ones, and I cut them at a 60-degree angle on either side. So instead of being, rectangular, they are trapezoidal bricks. And that's how I ended up getting the 6-sided forge to get that nice vortex going in there. Well, they tend to be a little crumbly, so I gotta fill the gaps, and I did, but over time that's starting to crumble out again. Kiddo, you're a blacksmith. You can do anything. Blacksmiths are a lot like farmers. They can fix everything. I suppose you're right in a way, but just because you can fix something doesn't mean it's worth fixing. And because fixing things takes time, and it takes energy, and it takes some money. So it's kind of like, what is it worth fixing it, or is it better to just like buy a new one? And a lot of times here in the United States, the corporations make it really easy to just buy a new one, Isn't it often better to keep stuff out of the landfill? Yes, definitely. Definitely. But it's one of those things, Oh, come on. Gotta get out of there. There it goes. All right. It looks like we're not getting quite as much movement as I was hoping for. It doesn't seem to be working that well. You can kind of see that I've moved it a little bit, but it's not really ripping the way I need it to. Let's do this side again. We'll see what happens. We'll do a couple more rounds. Hopefully it works a little better. Bodger, someone who can walk into wood with a knife and walk back out with a knife and a chair. Blacksmith, someone who can walk into a smithy with some iron and walk out with a combine harvester. I definitely could not do that. I kind of feel like I need a little bit of engineering and machining first. I'm a little less technically minded than I need to be to be able to make all of the moving parts and stuff. No, all you need is one season of cutting grain. By hand, that is. Is that how we'll figure out how to make a thrasher? Okay, coffee in hand and waking up. Ooh. Blacksmiths are proto-engineers. You'll figure out how to make a combine harvester. I'm sure I would. You know, the what is it? Need is the mother of invention, or of invention. You know, I'm sure I'll figure it out eventually. You know, enough monkeys typing on enough keyboards, or I guess typewriters, could eventually, you know, come up with Shakespeare. I don't know that I'm quite as, you know, random as a monkey, but, you know, I think it would take me quite a bit of time to figure out a combine. Even if it's just like a really basic version of it. Maybe if you gave me some like instruction manuals and like some basic like engineering manuals on one, I might be able to figure out a few of the things. Necessity is the mother of invention. Yes, that's what I was trying to come up with. The lazier the blacksmith, the quicker they figure out how to do stuff. Simpler. Exactly, right? That's my problem, right? I'm just definitely not lazy enough, right? Not lazy enough. Oh, I forgot to tell you guys my story. So I take my cat to the vet every 6 months because he's starting to get a little bit on the older side. He had some cancer, and so we're kind of trying to monitor it, like the area that it happened, so that in case it like comes back. Well, my cat is a crazy, crazy cat when it comes to leaving the house. You can make a sickle and a flail, and just it's just increments from there. I'm sure it is. But yeah, so my cat. Every time my cat goes to the vet, and like we're supposed to drop him off, but every time we dropped him off, they would call us up and be like, "Hey, come get this creature. It's breaking things." So my cat, he likes to get out of his cage and just start running around breaking things in the vet, right? So we showed up to be there to make sure that he didn't break anything at the vet. And he started growling at the vet, and the vet decided that they didn't want to deal with him, so they didn't even look at him. They sent him home, and they charged us $75, and they're like, and we have a cat insurance plan, so it's not like we had to pay that out of pocket, but it gets added on to the bill that we pay monthly. And I'm like, you didn't do anything. So why are you charging me $75? That's stupid. Just because the cat was growling? He didn't bite you. Give the lazy person something and they will figure out how to do it with the least effort. Yeah, that's what we did in the army. I do have a crazy cat. He gets the zoomies every day, and he has to like run all over and like jump everywhere, and he has to get me to go with him. He's not satisfied just running around the house by himself. I have to chase him. Or I've gotten him to the point where I can give him the laser, and then he'll chase the little red dot around. Or we have this like little feather that's on a stick, and he'll chase that, but he prefers it when I chase him. All cats have that. Yeah, all cats do. I mean, he's the sweetest boy when he's at home with us. But yeah, he was just growling at the vet, and the vet's like, I don't want to deal with that. I'm not even going to look at him. So they sent us home to reschedule the appointment and charge us $75. And I'm like, that's lame. You wasted my time and charged me for it. Not cool. All right, let's do another heat. yeah, that's the other thing that we did this weekend was we went to the vet with the cat, and then we went to replenish my Gatorade and juice stores. You know what? I need to remember to put this glove on before I take the steel out of there because we're getting there. It's starting to get there. We're going to get it out eventually. Quickly here, I think. 1 or 2 more heats and it should pop. Refuse to pay or charge them $175 for wasting my time. I should. I mean, the amount of gas prices these days, and our vet is a half an hour away. So, you know, you have a crazy growling zoomy laser point chasing cat. You only need to worry about when they stop being the above. Exactly. I mean, I feel like, you know, it wouldn't be so bad if I wasn't so worried, because last year in the fall, he had a bump on his leg, right? And he was getting a little bit cranky about it. And so we took him out to the vet, and it turns out that it was a cancerous lump. And so they got rid of it. He's been fine since then. But I still worry a little bit because they said that it'll probably come back eventually. So we just wanted to get him checked out. But they sent him away. So we've got another ad coming out in about 3 minutes or so. So I am going to change the camera angle. And I'm probably going to grab a juice, because I think I want juice and not Gatorade this time. But I'm going to wait for the ad to be finished so that I can, or before I do my next heat. That way the piece gets a lot of extra heat. Hopefully it'll pop out this time. You worry, good. You're a good mom or cat mom. That reminds me. So yesterday was Mother's Day, and for lunch we went to Applebee's, which is like a little, like a mid-range sit-down restaurant here in the United States. And I mean, it's not the best restaurant in the world, but we were just kind of looking for a place to just sit down and relax and, you know, have waiters and stuff. So we went there, and the manager came around and was like, "Happy Mother's Day." And I'm like, I don't have a kid. I have a cat. I'm a cat mom, but I kind of feel like I don't imagine that, you know, that's what they were thinking about when they were, you know, making the Mother's Day holiday. Cat moms, I think it's more like kids. Kids are a lot more work than animals. Some days. They sure are a lot more duration of work, right? It takes longer to raise a kid than an animal. Mothering Sundays in the UK was March 15th. It's different around the world. It is different around the world. I had seen like one of the people on my Facebook is an international company, and they had said Happy Mother's Day like a month ago. I guess it was on the 15th of March, and I was very confused because I was like, I didn't think that Mother's Day was yet, but they were saying Happy Mother's Day to European mothers. I once went to a restaurant and they said Happy Mother's Day. I said, oh, thanks. I only have 77 kids at the moment. And they went, what? That's funny. You have 77 baby goats. Are you planning on taking your fur baby on your camper or van travels? I am eventually, but he's still not quite like settled down about it. So we've been trying to train him. So we keep taking him to the park to have picnics. So we pick him up and we got him with a leash and a collar, and we take him in the van and we pick up food, and then we go to a park and eat there. And I'll talk a little bit more about that after the ad break is over. I'm going to grab a juice and I'll be right back. Ad break ends in about 30 seconds. Cool. This is taking longer than I wanted it to, but that's all right. That's all right. We can do the welding on Wednesday if we need to. But I really want to finish this project on Wednesday. 100%. I want to finish this project on Wednesday. All right. We are back. Okay. So, yeah, I am planning on training my cat to come with me in the camper van. So, as I was talking about before the ad cut me off, we have been bringing the cat to picnics. So, we go and we bring the cat out with his collar and a leash and setting him in the van and kind of driving around. And he actually he's pretty calm. Right? At first, I didn't know that if he was going to like race around or whatever. But we keep him on the leash. That way I can make sure, or me or the butler can make sure that we have a hold of the leash so he doesn't get up inside of, underneath of the driver's seat and into the pedals while we're driving. But yeah, we kind of drive him around a little bit. We go to the magic food window, which is like, fast food. We go to like Little Caesars or McDonald's or Jimmy John's or some kind of fast food restaurant. And we take him to the park and have a picnic in the van. And so he's still a little bit stressed out about it. But he's getting to the point where he's like, okay, I know how this goes now. So maybe if we all make it to Quad State, maybe you guys can meet my kitty. Europe varies. The 14th of February, the 8th of March, the 10th of March, 15th of March, 3rd, 10th of May, 3rd of May, 21st of May, 26th of what? That's a lot of different Mother's Days. It sounds like every country has their own Mother's Day. That sounds like everybody's got their own Mother's Day. Okay. Let's do another heat. Ow. That is the third time I have hammered my own hand. I guess in all technicality, that would count as a third strike and you're out. But you know what? I'm not going to let that happen today. We're not going to do that today. Okay. So this is how far we are. We're getting real close to being all the way through. I think we'll be all right. We're going to keep on keeping on, maybe one more heat, and hopefully it will finish that slice. Then we'll go on this one. There's a lot thinner of gaps in between those holes, so hopefully it'll pop out a lot quicker. That, or maybe, I don't know, maybe we'll just start on that side. Maybe we'll start on that side. Let's heat that way up. Delicious. In Belgium, you have 2 Mother's Day, same as in France. Well, it's Belgium. Do they have, or currently have, a government? I wonder what the cat equivalent of a pup cup would be. So, like, I've kind of seen a couple of cats receive pup cups in like on TikTok videos. So I don't really know for sure, but from my experience and what I've seen on the internet, a pup cup for a cat is just the same as a pup cup. I do know for a fact that my cat loves whipped cream and cheese from macaroni. So like dairy stuff, my cat really loves it. So I imagine that, you know, maybe a pup cup for a cat would still be just a pup cup, you know? I'm reading up on your last couple of comments, but I'm not going to read those out loud. Like I said, we try not to get political here on the stream, or, you know, add religion in here, just because it can be rather divisive, and I just want to make sure that everybody is comfy. At least I try not to bring politics into the stream. There are certain times when politics just kind of just invades everything, and you just can't get around it. Like, unfortunately, the gas prices. Oh, okay. It's not doing politics. We acquiesce. Okay. Yeah. So I do. I try. But like right now, I'm having to kind of look at the gas prices and make sure that I can, like, kind of plan to see if I can even get to some of the events that I want to go to, because like a lot of these events, they're like 5 hours away, and so it's like, you know, it's going to be about $150 to $200 here shortly to fill up the van just one way. So I have to be able to, I'm trying to get to as many as possible while the gas is as low as it is right now before it goes up even higher. So unfortunately, it's just, you know, logistically speaking, something that I gotta assess. A cat pliate, a cat splittery, like a banana split. You get your mind right already. A cat banana split. Yeah. I don't know if Tungsten would like bananas. I think Tungsten likes ice cream. I know that my dog, Jade, used to love ice cream. The butler likes to eat ice cream before bed, and so when they're finished, they used to put the bowl on the floor, and the dog would just lick it all up clean. Do as I did back in the day. Get 10,000 gallons of diesel. I mean, the van does use flex fuel, but it doesn't use diesel. It uses, or like true diesel. It uses biodiesel and gasoline. So, and I mean, I used to have, my grandpa was a farmer while he was alive, and he used to have a giant, several 100-gallon gas tank that he could purchase, and he'd fill up his vehicles and his farming implements from that. I just don't have a good tank for something like that. They don't look too kindly at you if you have that kind of stuff on your property in the city like this. So, yeah, like I said, I'm trying to get to as many events as possible this year. I originally had planned on doing 6. But depending on what happens with gas prices, I may have to omit a few. And I really don't want to have to do that. You know, I love going to events. I love taking you guys to events, but I have to be reasonable. If it uses biodiesel, get vegetable oil at Walmart and drive on that. UK a gallon and US gallon are different, and we measure them in liters now. Yeah, most towns have ordinance around fuel shortages. Yeah, fuel here is about 3 pounds a liter right now, almost 12 gallons equivalent. Yuck. Quad State is, I will do my best to get to Quad State. That is the one that I really want to get to. I really want to get there. But right now, gas has just reached, we just hit $5 a gallon, like a US gallon last weekend. And that's horrible. I have not seen it that high in years. So, like I said, I am trying my best to get to as many of these events as possible. But, you know, gas is expensive. Okay, let's do another heat. €2.4 a liter here. Your petrol is cheap. Well, we're used to, like, it used to be less than $3 a gallon here, like, last year. So it has doubled price in a year, and that's crazy. Ah! Dropping everything. So I will say, though, that the butler will be very upset with us, with me, if we cannot make it to Quad State. because they turned down a paid gig, paid work on that weekend. Somebody asked them to video a wedding during the weekend of Quad State. And I said that we're doing Quad State. And the butler's like, okay, well, we better be going to Quad State then. The U.S. is on track to start running out of, by July. We're already dicey on whether or not our servo will have fuel at any given time. Ugh. See, we haven't gone that far yet, right? I have not seen anywhere local who has been out of gas. So I feel like we're pretty lucky right now. But yeah. Things be happening. I mean, we may be all kinds of divisive on politics, but I think everyone can agree that gas prices right now are too high. All right. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know how well this is working or not. It seems to be working a little bit. It's taking a little bit longer than I wanted it to. But I don't know. I'll figure something out. We'll get it apart. We'll get these windows out of there. Like I said, I really want to finish this at least by Wednesday, but we'll see. Do as I do now. I'm retired. Cycle everywhere. Well, you know, that works locally, right? I do live in a city, and I could ride a bicycle all up to, you know, the convenience store. I could ride a bicycle up to the grocery store. I could ride a bicycle to the library, all kinds of places, right? But unfortunately, when Quad State is like 5 hours by car away, and you know, the BAM meeting is 4 hours away by car, you know, it gets a little bit. I don't know that I could ride a bike that long, you know. That's like a whole day of bike riding. I'd be so exhausted. Since I no longer work in the oil industry, I can finally agree with that. U.S. gasoline is still very cheap. UK petrol is around 58.4 per U.S. gallon. If all my conversion, that is insane. 5 hours by car, that's like 20 miles, right? Not really. Not really. So yeah. Cause yeah, like I was going, well, when we went to BAM, it was 4 hours away, right? And we were on 70, and most people on, or like the speed limit on 70, which is like Highway 70 in the United States, the speed limit is actually 55 miles per hour, and you can take that straight through pretty much all the way through to the Ozarks. You can take it from St. Louis all the way to Kansas City, straight up, without even taking an exit, right? So the speed limit on that road is 55 miles an hour. Most people on the St. Louis side of Missouri drive 70 or 75 on 70. And so our 4 hours, you know, it's a pretty decent distance. Anytime anyone in the UK or in the EU or UK compares prices, US gas prices are very cheap. Well, see, the thing with US gas prices is that everyone has a car, right? My household has 3 cars and 2 people, right? So like every house in the United States has like multiple cars, most places. Now there are a couple of places like New York and a couple other like smaller areas that actually do have public transportation and people are able to get away with not owning a car. But most places here in the United States, you can't get anywhere. There's no public transit or poor public transit. So the same 5-hour drive for like Quad State would be like a 10-hour bus ride, right? So ever heard of a Greyhound? Ever heard of walking? Yeah, like we don't have a proper Greyhound system in this area. I mean, you can use Greyhounds, but they're very specific on their routing. Like the only real like routing that's regular enough to be able to use as far as Greyhound is up to Chicago, from here to Chicago. So it's just the public transit is really, the infrastructure is really poor here in the United States. We're just a car nation. You spelled DoorDash funny. I usually leave my work Wednesday night, roll into Quad State early the next morning. Yeah. So, like, I mean, I'll get there. I will do my best to get there. But, you know, it's just, it's not feasible to go by, you know, Greyhound or on foot. But yes, DoorDash. I used to be a DoorDash driver. Not a fun gig. All right, we're getting there. We're starting to get to the point now where we're going to be able to punch this right out of there. I got to figure out a good place to stick it while we're trying to punch it out, though, because I don't want it to flip up at me. So I got to think for a little bit. I got to think for a little bit. Okay. I missed a thing. I took a bus to El Paso from San Angelo, about 400 miles. It took 12 hours. Ugh, that's gross. USA, where walking is not an option and things are an hour away by car. Other countries are less than an hour away in Europe. Yeah, the US is just so big. It's just difficult to kind of conceptualize, even for people who are here in the United States, how big it actually is. So, yeah, it's just very difficult, you know, and like I come from a family that's like, oh, we drive from Illinois all the way to Florida for a vacation. You know, that's a 2 day trek. And in a car with like, back then it was with 5 people, you know, because I have 2 siblings and my parents, you know, and you know, that's a vacation for us. Um, but I mean, that's incredibly a long journey. So I don't know. It's not that big. I mean, yes, it's big, but you go through Russia or India and you know what big is. I mean, Russia is huge. I don't have a lot of like experience looking at, because like most of the time when I look at a map, I'm looking at the like the normal one where the northern hemisphere is like huge and the southern hemisphere is like teeny tiny. So I don't know that I have enough perspective to be able to say how big India is. But yeah, I don't know. All I'm trying to say is that public transportation isn't amazingly feasible for getting me to these events, um, because there are routes that go to different places, but they don't go to like the smaller towns where some of these events are being held. Like I said, they're the only reliable bus routes from Greyhound is like from St. Louis up to Chicago. All the other routes are kind of like really intermittent. I'm told it takes a month to 6 weeks to take Highway 1 around Australia. My girlfriend is a 44-hour drive away. I'll fly, thanks. In the EU, people don't drive that. They take trains or planes. I realize this is not an option in the US. The EU is larger than the USA. Yeah, there just isn't a train system. Like, people have been trying to get a train system in the U.S. for generations or like years. You know, a good one. We just don't have one. All right, we got an ad starting in about 3 minutes. I'm going to pull this out one more time. We're going to see if we can't finish it before the ad break starts. And we should be able to. I'm pretty good at doing that. I think I've only like missed it once. All right. We should be able to pop that right out of there, but I gotta figure out a good way to do it. I think maybe we'll kind of like maybe we'll do this. You know, I think that might work. We'll use the broken off part of my anvil face to our advantage. That might work pretty well. I could also drop it. You're right. Well, we might try dropping it if we can't get it the face of my anvil to do it. I took a train to Berlin once. It was the most beautiful 6-hour trip of my life. The slow train that stops in every village, not the express. Well, drop it like it's hot. All right, Snoop. I will try to drop it like a shot. So yeah, we've got an ad starting here very shortly, and I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that we should be able to get this window out. I will come up with a better solution for this over the next couple of days, or I guess over the next day. And that way we can finish up and get to the welding part on Wednesday. More fire! Yes. All the fire. We've got plenty of fire, you know? More fire. So there's this TV show that was on Cartoon Network several years ago, and it's been canceled now. It used to be on HBO too, but anyway, it's called Adventure Time, and there is a flame princess, and somebody made like some techno songs based on the characters, and one is on the flame princess, and it's funny. It's like needs more fire. It's like dubstep. It's kind of funny. All right. Hopefully I can get this out of here. Can I get it out of here? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. Maybe. It's like more cowbell. Yes. That's another thing I should make. I should either make a triangle or a cowbell at some point. What do you guys think? If it isn't, I don't want to know. More cowbell. So lately I've been having a lot of like sinus issues recently because the weather keeps changing and all of the like pollen is everywhere because it's springtime and in the Midwest of the United States there's like constantly like corn and soybean pollen everywhere, and I get allergies and kind of like sinuses due to that pollen. And so when it happens, I get like mucus all like in my sinus cavity, and it affects my ears sometimes. So right now I have like a ringing in my ear, and I'm convinced it is because I have like a bunch of mucus buildup in my head somewhere. Okay, technically it's Don't Fear the Reaper, but more cowbell is better known. That's very true. Because of Saturday Night Live. It became kind of a meme. All right, let's try this again. Let's see. Let's see what we can do. This will be our last heat on this angle, and then I'm going to come up with another angle. But I think if this comes out, it'll be all right. Let me put this on first before I take this out of here. Let's try it. We're going to try it. We're going to pop this out, right? Maybe not, but we're going to try, right? We're getting there. It is bending a little bit. You can definitely tell that the steel is bending a little. So, I don't know. Ouch. That was a little hot. What can I do? I don't know. I will come up with something. because this is taking way too long. You know what I have learned? I have learned that maybe there's a reason that Christ-centered uses 1/4 inch stock instead of 1/2 inch stock for their guillotine tool frames. Yeah. Maybe this was a bad idea. All right, have a good night, Bluesy. Thanks for joining us today. They need to crack ores like Stardew. I've never played Stardew Valley. I hear it's a very popular game and that it's like really fun and relaxing, but I've never played it. Ramen03, thank you so much for that follow. Welcome to the stream. Welcome to the community. And I apologize if I just butchered your username. I apologize. But yeah. So we are trying to punch out these little windows in the faces of these 1/2 inch pieces of plate. But you know what? I probably shouldn't have used 1/2 inch pieces of plate. I probably should have used 1/4 inch, just like the design that I stole for these pieces. So, like I said, I will come up with a way to do this. Even if it's just like getting a hacksaw or something, I'll figure something out. I will figure something out. I'm not sure what though. I'll figure it out though. Like I said. But we're going to keep on keeping on with this chisel in hopes that it's going to work. Because, you know, if I repeat the same action over and over and over, eventually it's going to work, right? That's not insanity. Hey, Drunken Dwarf Iron. Welcome to the stream. You've joined us just in time to watch me struggle to get these windows out of this. So I'm trying to make a blacksmith helper tool or a guillotine tool. It's the names are interchangeable, though I feel like the guillotine tool is a little bit more common these days. Anyway, so it's basically a frame that a bottom die and a top die sit in. It attaches to an anvil using the hardy hole, which is the square hole on the butt end of my anvil. And you shove hot steel through there so you can make like different shapes based on what kind of dies you put in there. And so yeah, I probably should have used 1/4 inch stock or plate instead of 1/2 inch plate, you know. I'm considering building a C-frame guillotine tool, and I have some 1/4 inch plate. Yes, I recommend the 1/4 inch and not the 1/2 inch. See, I thought I was being clever and, you know, making sure that my tool was like going to last for forever. And, you know, I just happen to have some 1/2 inch plate. You know, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. Go with the 1/4 inch. Struggle stream. Ooh, guillotine is a fabulous tool. I'd be lost without mine. Yeah, like I said, I really wanted to make this tool. A lot of you guys on both YouTube and here on Twitch have told me that I need to get a guillotine tool. And I was like, you know what? I need to decide whether I'm gonna make one or I'm gonna buy one. And I was like, ooh, I can do both, right? So then I can build one and then I can compare it to the one I buy and see, you know, which design is, you know, works better, and if they work equally, which works better for what, you know. And so I decided that I was going to use the Christ-centered single die like frame version, not the C version. And but instead of using the 1/4 inch plate, I was going to use 1/2 inch just to make it a little more sturdy. Big mistake. And that's going in the video when I compare the two. Yep, I've got an A-frame one made from 1/4 inch. Holds up perfectly. It's sized to fit 1/2 inch by 2 dies though. Yeah, so the one that I took the inspiration from, the Christ-centered one, is an A-frame, and the die was 5/8 by 2 by 8, I think. All inches, imperial inches, because, you know, we be Merkins here. So that's kind of why I'm sizing this to. I left an Uncle Buck's Forge 2-inch and 4-inch guillotine in Texas. I do miss them. Yeah, so I don't know. I like I said, I've been trying to put this one together. This is the 4th day that I've been struggling with this. But yeah. All right, let's do another heat. Oh, I said that was going to be my last on this particular, and it should be because it ran out. I only have a half an hour on each. I can't put this like right in front of the other one now, can I? I don't know if you guys can see this in the main camera or not. Ooh, I got a ringing in my ear. Like I said, I think that it's from a sinus blockage in my ear right now. I'm gonna have to take like some antihistamines or some kind of sinus pressure medicine or something. Oh, you can definitely see the camera in the other. That's funny. Okay. What's your fitting method? Welding, rivets, or nuts and bolts? We're gonna weld it. We're gonna weld it because things and stuff. Because I'm not good enough at rivets. Ouch. Pinchy, pinchy. There we go. All right. Let's see how poorly this has turned out. We have bent our piece of plate instead of popping this out. Well, that's the greatest thing I've ever seen, except not really. You know, because sarcasm and all that. All right. Well, I don't know what I'm going to do next. I don't know. I'm going to put this back in the forge. Maybe that's what I'm going to do next. The other week I had to punch out an 8-pointed star from half-inch plate for the fly press. It was a nightmare. Yeah, this has become quite the nightmare, and I'm not thrilled by it. I'm definitely regretting my decision to use half-inch plate instead of 1/4-inch. So I don't know. I feel like I could probably use a hacksaw. You know? At this point, I feel like a hacksaw would be easier. Not too late to pivot. I think I probably will. I don't know. A sawzall? I mean, that might work too, you know. Sawzalls are really nice. But now I have a star-shaped hole in my fly press table. So now my bottom tools have a square shank I can rotate in 45-degree increments. Ooh, that's interesting. I think if I were trying to, I think I would probably want to have that as a removable bit, right? Where I could have the square shank and the star shank, you know? If that makes sense. But yeah, I think that I'm going to have to pivot and figure out a way to saw it out. Because yeah, not a fun job here. I have to figure out what I can do. And you know what it might be? You know what I might do? I might, instead of cutting out it out as a window, maybe I will just cut the top all the way off, right? I can always weld the top and bottom to the sides, right? Yeah, another way to cut them is each window is 4 pieces. That's exactly brain links there, Lexi. Great minds. That's totally where my brain went. I think that's probably the way to go at this point. So I will probably attempt to do that on or before stream on Wednesday, as I will probably grab the bandsaw, just because the bandsaw I think it's gonna eat through it a lot easier than the angle grinder was, and I think I'm gonna try that. Don't discount this, as silly as it sounds. Have you tried to push your chisel through using that bottle jack press? Yes, I have. And I ended up with a bent chisel. So yeah, that was a fun time too. That actually happened on, well, I guess it was Friday. So yeah, I've tried a few different things. And yeah, I do. I think that maybe making each window 4 pieces and welding it back together is probably the way to go. Yeah, that 1/2-inch plate isn't playing. Like I said, I am seriously regretting my choices here. It is almost tool resistant. I don't know. Like, the thing, it's bending before it's cutting through. Not cool. But yeah, I think I had to finish mine with a fly press to push the slug out. But I had to make some specialty chisels from coil to get it done. Yeah, these are just like cheapo chisels that I got at a box store at the Harbor Freight, if you know what that is. I'm going to do one more heat on this just to kind of see if I can't flatten out that plate a little bit. And so it's more about flattening out the plate, the bend, because we've gotten a little bit of a bend from using it this way. And then I'll probably, like I said, I'll probably steal Lexi's idea and just cut it all apart and then re-weld it back together. I'll try to have that done before stream, so it's going to be all welding and fabbing next time. What am I looking at? Yeah, that'll work. So I'm going to put that over there, maybe. I don't know. I might use it eventually. All right. We've gotten the bend out of it relatively well. All right. So like I said, I think next time we're just going to cut it all the way through into 4 parts, where we're just cutting here, and then we'll weld it all back together. So thank you so much for joining me, watching me struggle with this, figuring things out. I'm going to turn that off because it's getting real hot in here. And yeah, so thank you guys so much. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Well, if I'd have tuned in 4 streams ago, we'd be done by now, right? That's probably, I mean, maybe, I don't know. If I had to finish mine with a flat, yeah, okay. So yeah, I thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and yeah. So we will see you guys back on Wednesday. Wednesday. Bye. Not quite bye because I had to raid off. Ooh, we're gonna raid Yankee. It's not very often that I get to raid to Yankee. Thank you, Mahalo. I know I'll get it Wednesday. We'll finish it. It'll be good. All right, let's raid Yankee. All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you Wednesday. Bye.